This program is rated PG. It contains themes and scenes which may not be suitable for very young audiences. Parental guidance is advised.
Be advised that the views and opinions of the hosts and guests do not reflect those of the station.
Magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat. Welcome to our show, Heartbeat.
Ay, marami pong salamat.
Marami rin yung lalaki, ayaw rin ng divorce.
Change, meaning introduction of new policies.
Natutuwa ako na
And all that, or just katito.
buwan ng linggo ng kanyang panunungkulan. And
It went from 5 peso and 30 centavos.
Magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat. Welcome to our show. I'm sorry we're a little bit late in starting. But I'm your host, Leo Rosa. We'll be talking about things napakahalaga dito sa ating bansa. Pero talagang nalulugod po ako sapagkat napakatanyag ng ating bisita po ngayong gabi. One of the smartest people in the Senate, and I think magandang ang kanyang pangalan sapagkat hindi nababahiran. Walang akusasyon na siya ay nagpayaman o na ganito, nagsamantala, ganito. You may not agree with everything he says, but who agrees with everything? But sa gabing ito, natutuwa po ako na paunlakan tayo dito ng wala nang iba kundi si Senator Serge Osmeña III. And welcome, Kuya Serge.
Thank you, Ray, for having me.
Alam mo, nakakatuwang nandito ka, lalo na ngayon. Alam mo, it's very hard not to talk to you without recalling some of the things that you have said. And one of the frustrations that I see, ito lang nakikita ko sa mga text na dumadating sa buong bansa dito, is the people's frustration with Pinoy. Most people are willing to grant that he personally is not out to make money. Well, maybe he has a lot of money already. No? Yung pamilya naman niya ay tanyag at saka it's a moneyed class. But what I think they have a problem with is that his motivations for doing things is a little bit troubling. Dalawang element yan eh. The political decisions that favor allies and friends, in other words, hindi ko hahabulin basta kaibigan ko, and you can cite a lot of examples for that. And then the other one, of course, is that aside from that, is that walang nangyayari sa administrasyon na ito. And so people are frustrated na the performance level is very, very low. Kasi naniniwala ka ba na itong matuwid na daan is still a valid slogan?
Only partially. Sasabihin ko po sa inyo kung paano nangyari yung kanyang tagline, kung walang korap, walang mahirap.
Nga pala, campaign manager ka noong 2010, ano?
And ako rin po ang nagiging campaign manager in 2007 ng United Opposition. Yung UNO. At noon po, nakabuo kami ng lahat na nakisama sa amin. Nationalista Party, Liberal Party, Akbayan, Bayan, Aksyon Demokratiko, all of the parties joined together to oppose Gloria Arroyo. At yung nagiging tagline namin noon was kontra sa nakawan, sagot sa kahirapan. Sinurvey ko yan. At hindi mo naman pwede sabihin na hindi ako magnanakaw. Kailangan ma-translate mo yan sa kabutihan ng tao. Alright? It's not good enough to say, I will not steal. You will
Parang
say, I will
negative
not,
physiology.
no. You will say, I will not steal because it will benefit you. You will have more money for your improvement, your schooling, your port, your airport, etc.
Okay.
So, connection yan. So, I surveyed the same thing again in
2010.
At nakita nandun. So, I just asked my staff, so, hanapin mo ako na another
Slogan.
way to say, kontra sa nakawan, sagot sa kahirapan. Ayun, then somebody came
Hindi na
up
pwedeng
with-
gamitin uli.
No, we did.
Oh,
But
pero
it was-
say,
but
worded
It
differently.
was just reworded.
Oo.
Kung walang korap, walang mahirap.
Oo.
Okay. Ang importante dyan, walang mahirap. That is why people will support walang korap sapagkat alam nila ay mag-improve po yung kabuhayan nila. Alright. So, pag hindi kayo nakadeliver dyan, ano mangyayari ngayon? There'll be a backlash. The pendulum will now swing the other way. Sasabihin ng tao ngayon, Hindi balik kung may konting corruption, basta magkakaroon lang ako ng hanap buhay. Magkakaroon lang ako ng trabaho, ganun. And that will be the backlash. So you will remember, noong 1992, the first time na tumakbo si Clinton sa Amerika, kalaban niya, incumbent, George Bush. At sinabi ni Bush, uy, nanalo po tayo sa Kuwait War, Kuwait War, nanalo pa tayo dito. Ang sabi ni Clinton, it's the economy, stupid. At yun po ang nagiging tagline ni Clinton. Sinabi niya, you can do everything you want to do successfully.
So long as
but
the economy is okay.
As the people are not having hardships. At that time, bumababa ang economy kasi nag-overspend si Reagan. So Reagan overspent during his time, propping up the defense forces of the United States, na sumobra ang pagka-spending niya, so bumaba yung activity sa economy. Ayun po nangyari.
Well, the issue, however, that is always troubling us is, in your assessment, how capable is Pinoy?
No,
I mean,
we knew
it's not a matter of intention.
Yeah. But we knew he was not that competent. We knew that.
Given na yun, ha?
Yeah, given na yun. But we felt that he had the ability to learn. I mean, Corazon Aquino also did not have an experience. She never held a single position.
Yeah, but doggone it, her administration was also something else in terms of accomplishment. Not in terms of her own integrity and honesty, no?
Correct. Okay, ngayon. So,
Kanya lang, yung mga kamag-anak naman ang nakinabang ng gusto nung panahon ni Cory.
wala akong proof dyan.
Ah,
Ikaw talaga.
okay.
Wala akong proof dyan.
Labas na
But
lahat
what
ng
I'm-
dyaryo yan,
what-
yung Kamag-anak
what I'm
Incorporated,
saying is that the majority of people who are related to or themselves do not have a job, isasabihin ngayon, itatanong nila ngayon kay Pinoy, teka muna, thank you very much for being honest. Pero pwede ba? Kailangan
Kami
ko
naman.
ng trabaho, kami naman. Anong gagawin ninyo para sa amin? And that's why it's also bothering them. It is
The
also bothering
unemployment
Pinoy.
figures have not changed.
Oo, sabi niya, ano itong, anong tawag yan, jobless growth. Non-inclusive economic
You
growth.
cannot call it inclusive
Hindi,
if it's
non-inclusive.
it is extractive. In other words, ang ibig sabihin nun, the trickle-down effect is not happening, nor is it of any kind of
Correct.
significance
Correct.
that it can alter the unemployment problem.
Correct. Now, you and I know from our economics that the trickle-down effect has also been taught to us, no?
I know, but it's kind of...
Keynesian economics and Adam Smith. But the thing is, there has to be more government intervention, knowing that it does not automatically come about. So we have the same phenomenon in the United States. Nagkakaroon sila ng jobless growth doon. Here, it's worse because we have not been able even to meet our MDG, the Millennium Development Goals, that we promised to have our poverty
Reduced.
by
Alam mo,
50%.
50 years na yan. We have, the level of poverty has not changed significantly. It's
Hindi,
still 70%.
bumaba rin, pero very
Hey,
slow.
naku, katiting na
Yeah.
katiting. Hindi
Bumaba
tuloy
yan.
maramdaman.
Yeah. Correct.
Okay.
Kasi our population growth is so strong.
Oo.
so you
Well,
even you create jobs, you have an equal number
But
of Filipinos
you've
coming
got
out.
a lot of other areas in the economy that are not performing. Our agriculture sucks.
Yes.
I mean, it's not doing anything.
I agree.
Ang ating DOTC problema, ang
Correct.
DPWH problema,
Energy problem.
ang energy problema, abay ano pa naman gusto mo idagdag na problema sa balikat ng bayan?
That's enough. Tama na yun.
Di ba tama?
Tama na po yan.
Okay, anong dapat maintindihan ng taong bayan tungkol sa nangyayari ngayon? Pagdating ng 2016, anong magiging batayan nila para pumili ng nawa magiging, what do we say, better president or more efficient president
Now
or
they
more
will look-
performance-oriented? Ano?
In 2010, because of the high level of graft and corruption during the previous administration, nagkaroon ng backlash sila. No?
Oo.
Pero this time, people are going to look for competence in their president. So that will be a key factor in the next election.
Pwede ba ako magtanong ng foul ball dito?
Pwede.
Bakit ba hindi ka tumakbong presidente?
Wala na.
Alam mo,
Senior citizen na tayo.
hindi bale.
Pabayaan natin ang mga bata.
Ng mga bata.
dyan, yeah.
Pero yun nga ang problema eh. You look for wisdom, you look for maturity, you look for moral strength and character to be able to face that cauldron and still perform commendably. Now, is that too much to wish for in this country?
We have not developed what they call a horizontal society. One of these days I'll discuss that with you.
Oo.
But there was a paper by a Professor Peter Stanley of Harvard that I read when I was in the stockade. It was smuggled into me. And that's what really opened my eyes on why are we developing so slowly. At sinabi ni Peter Stanley, who wrote 3 or 4 books,
Yeah.
you can even Google him, about the Philippine-U.S. relations, but 1910, 1920. So it's not something that anybody but historians would be interested in. But he did study the Filipino character and the development of society. And he wrote a short paper on it, not 20, 25 pages. Sabi niya, you know, the tenant in your farm does not identify with the tenant in my farm. That's the problem. The tenant identifies with the cabo who hired him. The cabo identifies with the encargado who manages the farm. The encargado identifies with the hacendero who owns the farm. The hacendero even has a padron in Manila. So we have a vertical society. Unless we start forming horizontal relationships, a horizontal society wherein you have the effect of what they call in Europe communitarianism. I am also responsible for my community as you are. We're not going to be developing that fast.
Alam mo, I've often written articles also about this to say that we have far greater regional loyalties to people and to our
That's correct.
tribe than we do have to being a Filipino.
That's correct.
Kanya dito, pag pinag-usapan, Pilipino ka ba? Ano ba ibig sabihin na maging Pilipino?
That's correct.
So how do you expect, kasi alam mo, ang nation state is an abstract concept yan eh. Ah? So when there is nothing in your life that can cause you to make that identification except maybe a national tragedy, like for example, nagkakasama-sama tayo nung nasalanta ang Yolanda.
Correct.
Ha? O kaya,
Or
itong
World War.
ginugulo tayo ng China.
Yes.
Ayan. Matatapang
Correct.
tayo loob natin.
Tama po yan.
Pero pag walang external force na or national tragedy that happens, ika nga nila, pag meron siyam na Pilipino, tiyak 10 ang asosasyon eh.
That's correct.
Because nobody gets along with anybody. Nobody agrees with anybody.
It's more than that. You will remember when we were so-called discovered by Magellan, we were really nothing but fishing villages.
Oo.
All right? So there was no
No
national
sense
identity.
of nationalism doon.
No, there was no national identity.
Oo.
There was no Filipino.
Walang Philippines.
All of a sudden, they said, we call you the Philippines after King Philip of Spain.
Oo. And be grateful.
Talaga ba? Yeah. Ganun ba?
Oo.
Oh. So, we still have the, what I call the township mentality. So, nung na-exile po ako sa Los Angeles ng 14 years, there were 300 Filipino associations. 300. Every street corner had an
Meron kanya asosasyon.
The Talisay Association of California, the Bukawi Bulacan Association of California. See how they just cluster around their town. And we have to do away with that. We have to say Filipino po. So that's why if we don't develop a sense of community, yung atin ito, hindi lang akin, atin ito. Responsible po tayo dyan.
The self-centeredness has got to go.
But you know, we have very strong family ties. We have one of the most amazing family ties in the whole world.
Pero kung mag-away yung mga miyembro ng pamilya, kung minsan kahit patagan lang nangyayari,
No,
yung
no,
mga
it
family feuds,
it happens.
Naku, grabe.
Happens. But by and large, kaya lumalakas on, at least nasasalbar ang ating ekonomiya, is because the Filipinos send back $22-25 billion every year.
Hindi nasasalba
That's
ng
loyalty to
ekonomiya yan.
family, ha?
Nasasalba ng overseas foreign workers na nagsisikap sa labas ng bansa sapagkat walang makitang pagkakataon dito sa atin.
Tama
Kaya
po
bakit
yan.
naman aangkinin ng administrasyon yung trabaho ng mga OFW?
Tama po yan. But ang sinasabi ko is you look at them individually, because I met them, I asked them, magkano po ang sahod ninyo dito after tax? $1,000. How much do you send your family? $400, $500 a month. Ako, tuwa ako dyan. Sabi ko, wow.
That's what's been sustaining this economy.
That's correct. But, you know, this is also a value that we have that very few other countries have. Sa Amerika, hindi ka makakita ng ganyan. The American classmates of yours and mine, they will not be sending half their income year after year after year to their families.
Pero, Kuya Sir, tingnan mo naman ang cost of broken families.
No. I'm
Ako
not
eh.
saying that it's good that we're
Oo.
sending them abroad. Hindi ko sinasabi yun. But I said, out of that badness na nag-overseas po sila, you can see the goodness, the values
Na
of family.
pinadadala nila.
The
Ako naman,
values of
alam mo
family.
naman ako natatakot dyan. Alam mo kung bakit? Nagbabago ang relationship ng ama sa mga anak eh.
Tama yun.
Sila ngayon, basta't, ay, dad, keep the money coming.
Nagiging lazy naman yung
Ayaw naman magtrabaho dito. That is really the fuel for the new consumerism in the Philippines. Eh.
Tama.
If we have a sustained growth, if agriculture is not doing it, construction and yan, ang medyo parang favorable lang, but yet I think it's somewhat close to a bubble already, although nobody wants to admit it, is real estate
Yes.
and condominiums.
And 70% is purchased by OFWs.
Exactly my point. At ang maganda mo dito, marami dyan, because nung nagkagulo dyan 2008 and over, marami nag-default, sinamsam naman ng developer yung mga hindi nakakabayad.
That's right.
There ought to be a law on that one so that it is a more equitable in other words, if there's a force majeure, bigla kang nawalan ng trabaho kasi doon, na hindi naman biglang lahat ng binigay mo doon, wala na. Lahat ng pinumla mo doon, wala na. Di ba?
We will try to study that. Ang unahin ko namin muna sa Senado yung land use code. We should have passed that 50 years ago.
We have some questions, 0916-736-1553. It's nice to see once again Senator Osmeña on your program, Mr. Rosa. Maybe it's time for him to run for higher office. Well, you heard me say it. Ako, if anybody will ask me, at least sa ngayon, no? Wala akong makita na tingin ko pwedeng bigyan ng tiwala ng taong bayan na siseryosohin mo yung responsibilidad. Kasi sa akin tingin, kung ikaw tatakbong presidente, nanalo ka, hindi magiging pagganggalingan niya ng yabang eh. I think you are mature enough to be able to see just the gravity and the seriousness of what you face. To ask everybody to come and pull together so you can be a president of all the Filipinos, not just some or a few.
Yes, that's what the president is supposed to be, di ba?
Hindi ba? Exactly.
Hindi ko po alam ang anong sagot dyan.
Yun ang nakaka-problema dito na sana we can see some president that's willing to listen. Kasi ang nangyayari ngayon, pag hindi mo pinakinggan...
Not only willing to listen, we need to include others
Okay.
to help push the country forward.
And to be able to explain some of his actions. Hindi lang yung sasabihin, ay, hindi na ako makikinig yan sa mga pumupula. That's sad. But before we go ahead, we have to pause for a few reminders. Huwag po kayong mawawala. Babalik kami dito ni Senator Serge in a few minutes.